fall down. Mama, I'm fine, don't worry. Go back out to sea, sail home, sweet home, where the ships must go to get all cleaned up and put away.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? My name is Nicole, and I am here to step in for Dakota and Caleb. Alrighty, so some of you guys have seen me on this page. I mostly do the Spanish ones, but I am assisting with the English, and today we will be talking about some of the summer resources that Regional Center can provide for the clients. So I think this is a fun one. I know that we are already into summer, um, but I still think it's good information to have probably for next summer or whenever they have a big break, right? So I know when semester's over, they have winter break, and maybe getting them into something, a program or something, can help them, have some consistency of having a schedule, having to get ready in the morning, having to do something right for their day. So I'm gonna start off by talking about these. So I'm kind of gonna go insert in sections. Hi Jen, how are you? Hello, everybody that's watching from YouTube and Facebook Live. And yeah, all right, so let's get started. Okay, so big ones. A big one that a lot of people like to do is summer camps for their kids, right? Or even their adults as well. So, some of these examples are day camps, inclusive recreation camps, specialty camps like STEM, art, sports, nature. I know they have like Girl Scouts type. So, um, social skill scamps, social skill camps, and then camps for individuals with developmental disabilities. So I think these are all really good ideas for them to be in camps. I know that Myra, my boss, she used to put her daughters that have Down syndrome, Molly and Emily, um, in summer camps, and so they would go to a summer camp for a couple weeks or something like that. That's good to hear, Jen. That's amazing. Um, so yeah, so that's just like an idea. I know that sometimes they would say for like um I can't remember if it's a couple weeks or like a week or so, 2 weeks. I think it was like 2 weeks, I believe. And Teresa, you can correct me or you can add some details to this if you have any information. But yeah, so summer camps is a big one. And the next one is recreation and social activities. This is more for, this is where they get support to promote community integration, work on the socializing skills, skill development, and wellness when justified through the IPP, right? So it's like skill development and wellness. So I do want to also remind you guys that when you guys are picking activities, you have to make sure that they are meeting certain requirements that they need to be working on a certain area of the list that they have. So I know, so one is like social skills, communication. Another one is their like wellness. So there is the list, of like the areas that are affected in their life. So you have to also make sure that you're meeting with the certain requirements, um, to make sure that they um, are under a specific category, which I cannot remember what they are. Um, Yeah, so in this one specifically, recreational and social activities. Some examples are like swimming lessons, adaptive sports, music lessons, dance classes, art programs, community recreation programs, right? So um, these are really, really good stuff that they you can plan for. Like, let's say you are about to end school and you're like, okay, I really want to make sure that by the time they're out of school, they start their swimming lessons, right? Or they start their dance classes as soon as summer starts. So I would always suggest, like, if you really want to give them like an uh busy summer or have them do activities during the summer, start right away, right? So start contacting your caseworker, be like, hey, I do want to have a meeting to talk about some of these social activities. If not, if your IPP meeting is sooner, like let's say it's in January or in March, make sure to mention it then, so then you don't have to worry about having to bring it up once summer gets closer, so you can take care of that. Another big one is respite services. I'm actually a respite caregiver, and in the summer, my workload does increase a little bit just because they're just like, uh, can you help out a little bit more? So sometimes I'll do an extra day, or I'll do an hour more on my shifts. So respite is huge in the summer for families. And then also so you can get stuff done. You have the kids all day at home, so you're just like, I really need to get, this laundry done. I really need to go grocery shopping. I really just need to like check everything off my list right now. So let me take advantage of this service, right? And that's another thing too, is that with respite, a lot of people don't realize, but they can do activities with the kids too. So for example, sometimes the parents will give me tasks, or they'll give me like arts and crafts activities, and then they're just like, oh, I want you to do these with the girls, or you guys have these options to kind of stay busy and kind of like also interact and stay off the screens, and have that break, and that socializing skills, not only with like another person, but like with their siblings as well or whatnot, right? So um with respite, yeah, you can definitely get creative and be like, hey, I kind of want my respite worker to I don't know, I want them to work more on like painting. So you can give them like painting activities or coloring activities, and be like, this is, please work, you guys can do this together and whatnot. At the end of the day, it's they're there to help you, and to help you with your loved one or your kid that has regional center, right? And then the next one is social recreation and community integration programs. So this is many of the regional center vendors offer group outings, community access programs, social skills groups, peer interaction and opportunities, and volunteer experiences. So this kind of helps the individual build independence and social connections. Again, right? The A lot of the goals for regional center is to have them become independent, and eventually, hopefully one day, be at that point where they can be independent and have those social skills built throughout their time of being a regional center client. So I know volunteer experiences is a huge one. I know that is really, really popular. They would go to, for example, like Goodwill, do some volunteer work there. Sometimes they'll do like their like local pizza place, or their a lot of the times, regional center has vendors that are local businesses, or like I said, Goodwill, right? So they'll do special programs where it's just like, okay, well, they're just gonna work on shelving stuff, or building boxes, or helping unload, or just like stuff to feel independent and work on the independency. They approve surf camps too. Oh, that's so good to hear. Surf camps, that's super cool. I don't know how to surf. I'm scared of surfing, but that's really cool. Jen said, how many social rec activities are allowed? Because Alta is saying if an IPP goal is met with one class, and you need a different goal for the next social rec class. I think it just depends on what areas you're working on. So like let's say for example, during the school year they don't have a social skill goal, then you can have that one put in for the summer. I don't believe you can repeat, like you said, right? You can't repeat the same goal. And so like let's say I want him to work on social skills, but have like three different things. You can always adjust a little bit more, and maybe, and then this is like with regional center, you really have to get creative to find like how it's going to be integrated. But that is good to know. I think I've seen someone have like three activities, but they were meeting different areas of the regional center. Um, what is it? Qualifications. You need a different goal for the next social class. Yeah, that is true though. So it's you can't have like this the same goals. Like for example, I know with like school, they'll have a social skill one, two, and three, but they're all touching on different areas, right? Even then, it doesn't fully repeat because it's like in the first one, they're working on maybe verbal socialization. On the second one, is more so, um, I don't know, like um, sharing things and who knows. I sometimes I look at goals and I'm just like, huh? And it takes me a minute to like understand them. And that's just because people get creative, and then you realize like, wow, there's a lot more you can do. But that is correct, Jen. But let's say social rec activities are allowed. Let's see if I can find this information. Okay. Let's see if I'm able to get an answer. So it says the number of allowed social recreation activities varies based on specific guidelines and regulations. So I guess depending on the definition, right, on the specific social recreation activity, the specific guidelines related to that activity, and the focus group, if it's more so the regional centers have conducted focus groups to clarify which activities are permissible, indicating a tailored approach to each center's offerings. So I don't think it's I thought social rec activities are unlimited. Yeah. So it says right here that there isn't. The number of allowed social recs varies, but it all depends on the goal. So you can't have multiple goals repeated how you're mentioning. So yeah, I would say if you can get creative, then you can have them do a couple things throughout the summer. Um, but then there's also other things, right? So there's not only social rec, there's also what was I mentioning? Like the summer camps and at the end of the day, yes, it's all socializing, but if you can create different goals for like the different areas, I think that's what's gonna help you to be able to put multiple in there. Um, there's also, you guys know about the self determination program. This is where you have more flexibility in choosing the services and support that will help achieve their goals, right? And summer activities may be purchased if they align with the approved spending plan, and it's long as it's also person centered related um, plan for them. And this is a tough one though, because self-determination is such a great program, but you also need to make sure you have to do a lot of research and you have to prepare a ton for this to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. And that's another thing, realistically speaking, like really look at it and see like, okay, am I really gonna be able, because with self-determination they give you a budget, you have to use that budget, right? So if you're not using it, they're just like, well, then why do you need SDP, or like why do you need this big budget, and then they lower your budget and it just can become a mess. So um, Andy said, adult camp sounds wonderful, but I'm concerned about sexual activity. So wonder about supervision, or is there a separate girls and separate boys camps for developmental adults? There is camps that are specifically like specific gender. So there is boy camps and there is girl camps only. And so you can always look into that. Like if you're kind of you have worries and you're just like, okay, I don't want them to ever even be put in that predicament, definitely they exist. Transition. Okay, so another area where the regional center can help, some summer resources that regional center has is for the transition age from age of 14 to 22. There's summer opportunities that look like job readiness training, work experience programs, independent living skills training, college preparation supports, volunteer opportunities, and community based instruction. I can never remember what community based instruction means. If Teresa, if you're here, can you help me with that? The community based instruction. Um, Again, right? Like we were talking about, it's kind of related to like volunteer, but these are more specific to the transition. If they seem to be a little bit more high functioning and they have the um they can do a job readiness training, a work experience program, and ILS training, college preparation supports. These are all great. And I would also, mention some of this information to them and be like, hey, so I really want, a productive summer for my son. Can you guys give me a list of the summer resources that you have that I can look at and kind of see, and start having those conversations with them, and start preparing for that, um for the future for them. Especially like, let's say your IPP meeting is coming up in the next couple months and you're like, okay, I really want to plan for next summer. I want to make sure they're productive and they have stuff that they can do. Start having that conversation. You can even ask in advance, be like, hey, can I get a list of the summer vendors that you have or summer resources that that you can provide to me. It's called community based instruction for regional center. I'm trying to figure out what that means because I can't remember from the top of my head. Community based instruction. Mm, we could probably ask Vanea. um yeah, because I cannot find the information either for children. Let me see what this means. Okay, the creative community based. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to this because it sent me to a page, but it gives me a lot to read. And yeah, community based instruction, regional center examples. Let's see if something comes out from there. Okay, so I found it. All right, so community based instruction is an educational approach that emphasizes teaching students, particularly those with disabilities, in real world settings. So, for example, local field trips looks like a community based instruction. Being inviting community members to speak about their professions or experiences can help. So, having guest speakers is another community based instruction. Um, Work experience programs, so those are all like different type of community based instructions. Another All right, this is generic resources for families that you can explore, right? So, Parks and Recreations Department, the YMCA program, public library summer programs. I didn't even know they had summer programs. I clearly don't spend time at the library anymore. um, School district extended school year, so ESY, CCS, California Children's Services, Department of Rehabilitation, County Behavioral Health Services, Family Resource Centers, IHSS, when applicable, right? So these are all different type of separate resources that one can look into that's not um, that is not part of the regional center, but it's just an additional, resources that you guys can look into. I know some kids, have ESY, and that's just because they enjoy going to school, and they really, um, I guess the transition from school to summer is really hard for them. So keeping them on ESY, or because they need more help, or they just need to stay in school, because their academics, right, academics reasons, then ESY is a good program for them. Um, YMCA programs, right? I know that that has to do a lot with like sports and art, and they have a ton of things that they can also provide during the summer. And then there's also like local programs in your area. For example, I was part of like Heart of Los Angeles in LA, so OLA. And that was in the summer. I had different programs that I was part of. And I know that they also had a program as well. So there's also a lot of local stuff that you can probably find in your area. Kathy said, if we're in the beginning process for self determination, can we still request for social rec services? What can we still request as far as services? So if you're still in the process of the self determination, um, regional center, can I read that? Beginning process for self determination, can we still request? So as long as so if your SDP is not put in place yet, I believe that your IPP is still the one that is put in place while you're working on the self determination, I believe. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. um, but what can we still request as far as services? That is a great question. We have Anea coming next week, and that I think it's an amazing question that she can help with. Um, I just don't want to tell you something and then have it be incorrect. That's the last thing I want to do. Um, Alrighty. Circle of our services. Okay, that's what I thought. Um, so is that what it is? Is that the IPP is still active until while your SDP is being in process? I think that's what it is. And as long as there are services that regional center can provide, right? So you can't like and I think the ones that I've mentioned are some that you can probably request, or see if they can get those type of social rec services. um you just have to make sure that it's not something that anybody else can provide. So like, for example, if you're trying to do OT or speech for them in a group setting, the school has to provide for that. So also make sure that that regional center is the only one that can provide for this stuff before you request. Or if not, you can always ask and be like, hey, I'm interested in this. Are you guys, the primary people for this? Or if not, they'll tell you like, oh no, you have to go to insurance first, or you have to go through the school first. So make sure that you're also checking off those boxes, so you're not like you're not in that situation. Whatever you had in traditional, it is transferred to SCP as lean as you put it in your spending plan. Okay. Thank you, Jen. Alrighty. And then I have some other summer vendors um that hold on. Incorrect. So um so there's other, I guess, inclusive places that you can go to in the summer with your kids. We kind of did this last summer, I believe so, a little bit. So, but just to retouch it, so you guys can know. And if you guys have any that you guys have gone to with your kids, and you're like, I went to, for example, Legoland Resort, and it was, my kids loved it, and like, what was good about it, right? What was the accommodations that they did? What showed that they're inclusive to people with disabilities? So yeah, so that's actually one of the, the first example is Legoland California Resort. Seems to be inclusive. They have a safety and sensory security. So if it's a fully enclosed quiet sensory room inside the Duplo Family Care Center, which is equipped with weighted blankets, dimmed lights, and tactile toys. They also have an assisted access pass that allows the guests and up to 5 family members to bypass physical lines and wait in low stimulus areas. And it's actually an official designated certified autism center as well. So that's actually really good. Sesame Place San Diego. I've heard some good things. I can't remember which one it was, but they also have a safety and sensory security. The entire park is certified autism center. It offers quiet rooms with lockable doors, noise canceling headphones, specialized low sensory zones for viewing parades without overwhelming music. Um, that's actually really, really good. And if you guys have any examples, let us know. Disneyland and Universal Studios, they have a line skipping benefit that is, and then what is it? Disneyland's Disability Access Service and Universal's IBCCES accessibility card allows families to schedule ride times virtually, preventing long, high stress waits in physical lines. It's great. WOF approved. I don't know if they are. I don't see it on this list. Um, but I know that my boss, I know that Myra loves going there with all her grandchildren. Um, they go like every summer, and I know that Molly and Emily go with them too. So, but I don't know if it's a like and what is it? I just read it right now. In a certified autism center. I'm not too sure about that. It was a great experience. Awesome. Oh, that's so awesome. The Legoland is a good one. I can't remember which one it was that. I think it might have been Sesame um place. There was one that someone had mentioned that they had like a sensory room and like a quiet, a low noise canceling, or like it was like a quieter room, but it was actually under like a big ride or something like that. I can't remember which one it was. um like it was like a quiet zone, but it really wasn't a quiet zone. Okay, let's see. Luna has a question. She said, "My mom was approved for protective supervision since she was approved for 195 per month. Um, but is that all the hours that were allotted to her? Right now, I'm still waiting to get my provider ID number. I am my mother's sole caregiver, so I don't know if I should call the social worker and ask if that's all the hours that were given to her, or is there more coming?" Okay, so your mom was approved for protective supervision, which protective supervision in itself is 195, right? And if you have to help her with personal care and domestic work, she should be getting more hours. Um, yeah, if you're dressing her, bathing her, doing her laundry, prepping her meals, cleaning up after her meals, doing all of her errands, house errands and shopping, yeah, she should be getting more than 195 if she, which I'm assuming, for context, my mom has advanced dementia, which I'm assuming you probably do have to help her out a lot because I mean just having protective supervision, she's probably not able to do much for herself, like safely wise. So was she getting any more hours before that, or is this your first time applying for protectives? I mean, for IHSS in general. Alrighty. While I wait for you, I'll continue. And now I'm gonna go over some aquariums. The aquarium of the Pacific is also it's Culture City certified for sensory safety. It has a safety and sensory security. Host host is dedicated autism family night. Oh, they host the autism family nights and early morning hours with heavily reduced capacity and dim lights. Free sensory bags containing noise canceling headphones and fidget tools are available at the information desk. First time. Okay. Um yeah, she should have gotten more hours, Luna. If all she got was 195, it might there might be a possibility that she didn't get protective supervision and she got everything else. But if you want us to review your notice of action, we are always more than happy to schedule a consultation with you, and we can review that notice of action and take a look and see what's going on with it. Because by looking at the notice of action, it gives us a lot of information, and we are able to answer a lot of your questions based on that, right? So yeah, so if you want, you can always call our front desk, and she is more than happy to schedule a consultation and then just say that, hey, I just want to review my notice of action with you guys, and yeah, get an idea of what's going on, and we you will definitely let you know our thoughts. San Diego Zoo is another one, and San Diego Zoo and Safari Park. It's has a safety and sensory security, so they have quiet zones on their maps where families can decompress under shaded trees, away from crowds. They have sensory bags available for free checkout. Um, oh, it's the San Diego Zoo and the Safari Park, so it's two separate ones. It's in San Diego and in Escondido. Um, and this is a great option because it has an expansive outdoor space um where elopement is mitigated by clear white paths and trained staff, so they have a lot of people that are, obviously always supervising and everything. So if they're an eloper and they run off, like, probably be able to get to them quickly. Another one is California Academy of Sciences in San Francisco. The They have a they feature a sensory story time and highly interactive, vivid, immerse your senses gallery. And the staff are fully trained in behavioral redirection and neurodivergent support. That's actually really good. So they'll be able to know how to interact with someone and how to get them, how to give them the support that they need. That's really really good. Fleet Science Center in San Diego. This one they host an autism accessibility morning on the third Saturday of every month. The venues feature lower IMAX volume, minimal crowds, and adjacent quiet rooms. All right. Oh, now going into accessible camping and nature respite, hidden gems. So Tulum Trails in Groveland near Yosemite, they say that this is a hidden gem, that a completely barrier-free, fully accessible campground built exclusively for individuals with special needs. Um, they're considered safety and sensory security. The entire camp features paved, wide, wheelchair-friendly trails, securely enclosed cabins, fully accessible bathrooms, and medical centers. They host dedicated family camps throughout August. From August to September, they host family camps. Um, and they feature adaptive campfires, fishing, and arts. So that's actually really, really cool that they have specific months that are dedicated for families. And another one is the Golden Heart Ranch. This is tailored for it is a 22 acres safe haven ranch tailored for individuals with intellectual with IDD. They have a safety and sensory security fully fenced and secure perimeter, and they host summer slash fall overnight experiences, and they tracks focus on animal care, cooking, and sensory integration. This is really cool. Yeah, within to what is it, individuals with developmental disabilities. And then um yeah, we have two more. The last ones, these are more like unique little experiences. The first one is Roaring Camp Railroads in Felton slash Santa Cruz Mountains. Um, Many individuals with developmental disabilities are deeply fascinated by trains and heavy machinery. So they yeah, and I see this quite a bit as well. Um, but it's an open air train cars that allows for constant airflow and sensory regulation. The venue is highly predictable, which helps reduce transition anxiety. So that's actually that sounds fun. And then the last one is Sandy Feet Initiative. This is yeah, this is a coordinate specialized beach days in Encinitas and Dana Point through late August. They supply extra supervision, beach wheelchairs with balloon tires, and structured low stress ocean introductions. Um, that's really cool. But yeah, all right, let's see what's we got a couple comments over here. Sandra said, someone I know gets 65 hours of IHSS buddy loops in the middle of the night to run to grandmother's house. Would this person qualify for anything besides 65 hours? The child elopes. Well, if they're eloping to go to grandma's house and they're able to get there um every single time and like they know their way, I am not too sure because if they're able to, even though they elope from the home, which is right dangerous, if they're able to get to their grandma safely and they know how to get there, they will be considered self-directing. Now, if like let's say they elope and then it's like 1 out of 10 chances that they'll get to grandma's house and they don't know how to cross the street safely, they don't know how to do like anything safely, and they won't make it to grandma's house, and that's definitely non self-directing. So it really depends on the details of the incidents and the situations, and if they're also able to come like go and then come back without anyone, there is a huge possibility that they probably wouldn't qualify just for that reason, if there's because that's considered self-directing. So um and that's another thing too, if you have more specific questions in regards to that, or maybe you want me to hear the specific incidents and the details of it, we can have a consultation and we can go over that information and I can give you more of a determining answer whether they qualify or not. Luna said, okay, thank you. Don't think don't think I got an NOA for PS. It looks like a sheet that has a bunch of times for different tasks, but I didn't get a letter. The protected supervision category is in that big sheet. It's like the chart looking sheet, and there is a protected supervision little section. So right before, when you go all the way towards the bottom, right before you get to the total amount, there's a protected supervision. It's like a couple lines up, and it says protected supervision, and then from there, and then if it says like time given, or like, you know, where you have the time approved, if it says the 185, then she was approved for protective supervision. If not, it's gonna say zeros. Sent earlier. Yeah, so that's something that we can talk about, but like it's, yeah, I mean, it is dangerous that they're leaving at 2 in the morning, right? But if they can find their way, if they know how to get to grandma's, and it's every single time, then it's kind of, yeah, I mean, they're able to get there, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like I would have to hear more of the story and kind of get to know more about the child and what other behaviors there is to kind of determine. But if they're able to get to grandma's safely and they do it every single time, it's going to really be hard to overcome that. Alrighty, guys. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys for joining me and for all the comments and questions. And for Sandra and Luna, if you guys want to schedule a consultation, call us, and we're more than happy to talk to you guys about your situations. And because that's what we're here for. We're here to answer questions, to give support, to give representation if necessary. So, we're here for you guys. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a good weekend. Take care. Bye.